My name is Lewis. I'm the owner of Element Inspection. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about air filters, the importance of a good quality air filter, why it's better to buy the more expensive one, and why trying to save money on a cheap one will actually cost you money in the long run. I've taken some notes here. There's some words or phrases that I'll need my notes for. So the idea behind having a better quality air filter, there's two parts to it. Number one is better air quality inside your house. The better the air filter is, the more particulates it will filter out. And number two, the more things that it filters out, the less dust enters your system. So I'm sure everyone has experienced this. In the middle of the summer, your air conditioning stops working, and the plumber or the HVAC technician comes over and he says, well, the drain line or the condensate line is plugged and we need to blow it out or clean it out, and then that'll get your system back up and running. Essentially what happens is water accumulates in a clogging tube, which is, I will show you, we'll go upstairs in my attic and we'll actually replace this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about upstairs in just a second. But what happens is condensation is created because we're introducing two completely different temperatures, very cold and very hot, much the same as when you fill up a glass with ice water. It will condensate. The condensation will start dripping down the glass, and if you don't have a coaster, it'll spill to your table. Same concept. The condensation has to go somewhere. The condensation goes down a drain line. If the drain line gets clogged with dust, water and dust start grouping together and creating a clog, and you can no longer flush the water thoroughly and smoothly through it. And typically they have little float sensors. So once that drain is clogged, it'll move to its emergency system and a float sensor will pop up and shut the system down. And you think, okay, all I had to do was clean out the system and it starts running again. So essentially what happens is there's coils that are filled with refrigerant, and that refrigerant's extremely cold, and the air blows over these very cold coils and creates condensation because we're moving hot air over the cold coils, and the condensation drips down. If there's dust flowing through the air and it lands on those coils that have condensation on them, you get that gummy residue. The dust and the water group together and they get turned into a gum, and it clogs up that drain line. So having a poor quality filter that allows a lot of dust particles to flow through it will make your system back up and clog much faster than having a much higher quality filter. That's one benefit, obviously, and the other is just general health, breathing cleaner air. So this is a Honeywell filter, and they have different ratings here. This is Honeywell's own kind of rating system. The true rating system is going to be MERV, and this is by the EPA. MERV stands for Minimum Efficiency Reporting Values, and the MERV rating goes from 0 up to 20. Anything 17 or above is considered HEPA. HEPA is high efficiency particulate air, is what that stands for. Anything that's HEPA rating essentially gets 99.97% of all particles that are 0.3 micron. Hospitals use HEPA, air filtration systems, little air purifiers, those are HEPA filters. So that'll have a MERV rating, anything greater than 17 or greater. 17 to 20 is typically the HEPA rating. So the MERV rating is going to be what you want to look at, and it's going to be a standard across all different filter types. What they have here on the Honeywell is FPR. That's kind of their own branded version of it, and it tells you everything that each one of these filters does. Their ranking system, I believe, is like 4 to 12, but the one you want to look at is MERV, and that's going to be on the side of just about every filter. It'll be listed here, and like I said, that's an EPA regulation, and they must be rated in that. And so the higher the number is, the more efficient the filter is, and efficiency doesn't mean the amount of air that passes through. The efficiency means the amount of particulate that it captures. So with a very high efficiency filter, or HEPA, it will capture the maximum amount for every bit of air that goes through it, versus low efficiency is going to allow a lot of air to pass through. So that's something to be aware of. High efficiency does not mean a lot of air flows through it. It will mean that quite a bit of particulate is stopped. However, air will flow through it slowly. So if we were to shine a flashlight through both of these, we would see that this would allow a lot more light to pass through than this one. And it's a very similar concept with the dust going through it. So we're going to go up into the attic. I'm going to show you how we change it out, and then we'll come back down. I'm going to do a little bit of demonstration as to why This filter is far inferior to something like this. A good rule of thumb is to replace these every 3 to 6 months, the big ones, and then something much smaller like this, you're going to replace quite a bit more often, typically 1 to 3 months in that category. And we'll demonstrate exactly why that is towards the end of this video. So let's go up in the attic and change it out. All right, guys, we're up here in my attic. I have a very tight working condition where I live, very low sloped roof, so it's quite tight here. Located my furnace, and this is where the cartridge filter goes in, the big 4-inch filter goes in. We're gonna pop this lid off, and inside we'll find the dirty air filter. And I'm gonna show you here, it is very important that there is an airflow arrow on it. So this little arrow right here needs to go in the direction of the airflow. So we're gonna pull out the old one. Typically they will be installed correctly. So you would just put them back in the direction that it was shown. So this one shows the air is moving this way, and that is correct. The air moves this way through the system. If you don't know which way the air moves through the system, inside the house, there's going to be the air returns, and you can usually follow them in the attic, knowing your home, where the air returns start, and they'll end up right here at the intake plenum. So now we'll just take the new one, we'll slide it into place. Once we have that seated in place, I'll turn this around for you guys. So here's the system. We have the new filter in place. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can come upstairs and you can find the filter size and go to Home Depot and buy one of these filters. This is the system, and you see that little plastic drain line right here. So inside the system, there is the refrigerant coil, and the refrigerant coil is underneath this pan or above this pan over here. That's the emergency catch pan, but this white line right here is the drain line for all the condensation. So the filter is going to stop the majority of that dust, and the better quality the filter, the less dust is going to make its way through the machine, hitting those cold refrigerant coils and then packing those full of dust. And as the condensation drops down, it goes down the drain line and clogs it. Look how small that drain line is. So if that and any of the corners fills with all sorts of gook and dusty water, it's going to clog up and the system's going to shut down. So I'm going to replace this door, and we'll go back downstairs and I will show you what I wanted to originally. So that's it. That's how you install them. Super simple. This is the old filter. This is the one I just took out of there. I crushed it a little bit trying to get it out and bringing it downstairs, but it is significantly heavier than the filter that I just put upstairs in the attic. And that's because this one is absolutely packed full of dust. It's been up there, I think, 3 or 4 months now, and it was time to change it. This is the brand new filter. Let's set aside the fact that there are different quality levels. I want to show you why this one does not need to be changed as often as this one. So this is 18 inches by 20 by 1. This one is 20 by 25 by 4. But what I'm going to do is take these pleats and stretch them out. I'm going to take these pleats and stretch them out. They are very similar in width, so I just want to show you how much more material is in this one versus this one. Here is that 18-inch filter. So it was 18 inches wide. Remember, the other one was 20 inches wide. It's only an inch in thickness, and this is taking it completely out of the cartridge. This is the 4-inch one, and taking these pleats and expanding it out, and we get this effect. Here is the 4-inch one. Remember, that one was 20 inches and that spread out. This was 18 inches and it was spread out. Look how much more surface area we have to collect dust. And remember, this is a used filter. I didn't stretch it all the way out. I could have stretched it even more, but the size comparison between the two speaks for itself. And this is why 1-inch filters need to be replaced so much more often, simply because they just don't have the surface area to collect the dust and they get clogged up, whereas this distributes among this giant surface area and you have a much greater ability to capture dust and keep it flowing well. All right, guys, I hope that was informative. Appreciate you coming along for a bit of a longer video. I hope you learned why it is more important to buy a higher quality filter, why it'll make your system last a lot longer. You won't have to call the repairman out to flush out the drain line every single summer. The two parts, your system will run longer and you have better, cleaner air inside your house. So I'm Lewis, I'm the owner of Element Inspection. For all your inspection needs, give us a call, 469-409-9344. Have a good day. Thanks, guys.